Okay, stream should be live. Let's see. I don't think that I double checked my camera. Let's make sure the camera looks good before we do. It doesn't look good at all. I'm glad I checked. I had to move a bunch of stuff because they're just wires and cats. You know how it is. We're going to touch this camera and move it this way. I guess I could move this down more. Maybe it's fine as it is. There's a lot of options on this thing. There we go. That's probably the better spot. I'm doing this, for some reason I can't preview my camera in Twitch. There we go. All right. Let's hit this button. Chatting. And it says no webcam detected, but that is, shouldn't be correct. I'm gonna figure this out. Okay, webcam. Change to, oh, you have to change it from none to this one. That looks strange, but fine. There we go. That's looking real good. Save. Okay, that should be working. Let's let's check my own stream to make sure that it's working correctly. Yeah. There you go. Cool. Okay, welcome everybody. In this stream, it's like a small robotics stream. Basically, it's like a we're gonna chat a bit, and I'm going to assemble this thing that I've had in my garage for a while. There is this like body plate. All right. Oh, so it's like half assembled already. It might not actually be a very long stream. Basically, it's a bunch of these little servos. I don't know where the webcam is. It's a bunch of these little servos and this kind of body plate and a bunch of these little legs. It's just a hexapod. There's also some printed stuff in this box. Like you can see, this is a printed like 3D piece. If I can zoom in with the webcam, that might make it a little easier to see what's going on. This is my first time with a like serious webcam use, so sorry if it's a little awkward at first. It'll get better with time. It doesn't look like there's a way to zoom in, so that's unfortunate. I might be able to. We're gonna have a little bit of fun here. You're gonna go on a little bit of a ride if I turn the right dials on this thing. Whoop, there we go. I'll pull it in. I don't have to pull it in closer. I can move the table. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now I can kind of. Still a little awkward with the frustum. Frustum is this way, but I'll make it work. So there's also some. So there's a bunch of legs. I'm just gonna pour this out. I don't think it'll break anything. Is that a really bad idea? We're gonna find out together if that's a really bad idea. Hopefully it's not the loudest thing you've ever heard in your life. So yeah, like I said, this box has been in my garage for basically since I moved to my house. So something like 2 years now. No, 1 year in October. 2 years in October? I don't remember, man. Life flies, especially with all this pandemic stuff. So I got this camera. You're looking at a camera looking at you. Creepy. I've got these body pieces. Like I said, I've got a bunch of these like multi dimensional like servo setups. So like they mount into the body like this. This is hard to do on camera. I'm not Big Clive right now. I'm not good at this yet. So these get plugged in this way and then rotate along this axis, and also allow for these to move on this axis. And I think that this is the top piece. It might be the bottom though. I'm not sure. The other part of this is that I don't have the instructions anymore. So we're going to have a little bit of fun piecing this all together. The printed pieces in here are actually because I had modeled and was planning to print my own like little hexbot kit, and it just didn't materialize that way. But you can see like this is a fully assembled foot, I guess. It was basically like you can see the insert here would go with a little bit of fiddling. Oh, because it goes, this is the wrong leg direction. Maybe this one. No, doesn't matter though. So it would fit this way, and then the whole joint would move like this. And you can hear that. You can't hear the grinding on the webcam. Actually, I don't know if the audio is still coming. Yeah, the audio is coming through my headset. Pretty sure. Let me know if the audio sucks. But yeah, so this thing, I think I got maybe like a third of the way through the hexapod. So I had several of the legs printed, as you can see in this kit, and they are not part of the actual kit, so they'll go back in the box. Someday I'll maybe revive that project. We've got some drone batteries in here because I am a hoarder of electronic stuff. Got a 9G servo. Still getting used to where the camera is for customs like that. Another one of those printed pieces, and of course this printed piece as well. Yeah, so these ones, it was intended to fit this way, I think. God, that sounds really gritty. Oh, because it's the plastic rubbing on the plastic. That's kind of nightmarish. I'm glad you guys can't hear that, because that's terrible. Yeah, so I had three of these legs printed. So that's pretty cool, you know? But we're not working with the printed ones today. We are working on the actual hex pieces, the ones that came in the kit that I bought years ago and assembled. And then when I moved, I actually disassembled it, disassembled the thing, and yeah, I had it assembled for maybe like 6 months. I kind of tweaked with it a little bit. There were some like power supply issues. Basically, I wanted it to be a standalone robot with something like an hour of battery life, and it would walk around, and then it would go to my charger that I would like build in my apartment. Like it would basically try to find where sunlight is in the house. It would go apartment. It would go to that location and sit there. And then when it got dark, or the sun moved, or there was no light around, it would move to the charging station and like sleep. Those plans never came to fruition because I couldn't get batteries that would last long enough. That was the like primary issue there. And so I'm hoping either like, because I'm not an electrician or like an electronics guy, I'm a software guy. So I'm hoping now that my knowledge of electronics is a little bit better, and maybe I can like throw together a battery or do something. Like I figured this will be a nice little learning journey to document on Twitch that people can come and watch. And when things catch on fire, like they inevitably will, there will be a record. So should be a lot of fun. These do not have a directionality, which is kind of interesting because you can mount them this way or this way, and like the shape stays the same. They're not symmetrical though, so there should be like a, don't matter. It don't matter. So I should have 6. I'm just making sure that all the parts are like here before I begin. I should have probably done this before the stream, but I have backup plans for once if not everything's here. I have other robots I can assemble or something like that. So I've got 6 of these legs. That's a check. We got the feet. I should have 2 of these body pieces. That's a check. I should have 6 of these shoulder joints, question mark, probably shoulders. That's a check. And I've got 6 of these, I guess, femurs. Check. So that looks like it's all of the pieces are here. These are the spacers for the body, which I also need 6 of. And then these, I think I got with the 9G servo kits and don't need. So I guess I'm going to put these back in the box. I've also got an absolute boatload of additional servos. I've got like 8 extra servos. I don't know what I was doing with these. What are these, 12Gs or something? I don't remember. They're really good though. So 4 of those. I think 4 of these sounds like a number. You would think you'd need 6, but I feel like it didn't come with 6. Maybe it's fine. If we put this robot together, and at some point, if I end up programming parts of it tonight, if at some point it collapses in on itself, then we know that we don't have enough support from just the 4 of those. Okay, so I do need 4 additional little screws, I think. Which that might be a deal breaker. But maybe that's fine too. We'll find out together. Cool. Let me know, by the way, if the camera sucks. Like I said at the start of the stream, this is my first time with a webcam. At least, like, focused, and not focused on me while I'm playing Quake. Or whatever I was playing. Space Marine? It might have been Space Marine. But if the webcam sucks for a stream like this, then it's not as fun. Just doing a little bit of cleanup here. Hopefully y'all are having a good week. It's been a little busy for me, but it's nice. I have some time off next week, and then of course the holidays are coming, so it'll be a nice couple days to have some peace and quiet, relax. We were under a weather advisory. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and it was supposed to basically just snow, like 6 inches of snow or something, and then it just didn't snow. Like, I don't know what the weather service is doing, but it wasn't right. Okay, so let's get started on this bad boy. I need a screwdriver. I do have a handy dandy toolbox with very few tools in here. Mostly a screwdriver. I got some calipers. I've got this thing, which definitely comes up a lot for my toolbox that I use for robotics. I've got wire strippers, which actually does come up a lot, so that's not as funny of a meme. All right, take a quick drink of water before we begin. Okay, so the first step is probably just going to be to secure these, which will be easy. He said jinxing the entire thing. So I will eventually, I didn't even think about this. I had a piece of software that I wrote to do this for me, but Do I care enough to do it now? I don't think I do. I think I just need the momentum of like having the thing assembled. So what I'm going to do is drive this all the way to its max point and then put this here. So this, put it here. So then this should be the 50% point of the servo, since it should only move in a 180-degree arc, but it definitely doesn't only move in a 180-degree. I don't know why it moves in like a 155, bro. I don't even know. 180. What was the gauge? The gauge, you say, is 6. That's for sure. It definitely had a gauge. I can tell you that much. What do you mean gauge? Like of the servo, maybe? I don't know. I think they're 12 Gs. Oh, it tells me on this one. They are MG99 6R. Tower DPRO. Towar? Digi high torque. Yeah. These, let me finish screwing this. From Toolbox. What was the gauge from Toolbox? Oh, it's for a hose to determine the pressure. I got it for Jalapeno, the garden project. Oh yeah, you can't see it because the incredibly blinding LED light. But yeah, it's basically charges or like detects the pressure, reads the pressure coming in. I don't remember why I got it. I think it was mostly just to gauge something. It might have been of like basically not having to demolish my thing for the winter. Like it would just have enough. It would have water in the hose still, probably. But then when wintertime came and it froze, there would basically be like a drip bar or something. I don't know what you would call it, but like it would be a release valve that the water as it froze would be squeezed out of the pipe or the hose in a direction that would be like safe, and then I wouldn't have to worry about it. Perhaps to gouge the pressure. Yes, gauge, gouge. How do you? What's the word gouge? Like to like cut someone? Is it a different word than gauge? Huh. Now I'm kind of tripping, and I don't have a computer nearby, he said, sitting by several computers. Okay, so we've got this leg assembled, which moves a lot more than it should, but that's fine. So, the next thing to do is probably the next leg. We'll keep going down the line for all the legs, then we'll assemble the shoulders, tie them to the actual device, and then figure out what we're going to do about securing that piece to this piece without any screws. So that should be cool. But it would be nice to have this stuff started, you know? Start building up some momentum internally. Gouge, Gouge, right. Man, English is nuts. There's so many words. You ever think about how crazy that is? Like there's just so many words. And like they all mean different things, you know? And some of them don't mean different things. I don't know, I'm trying to make interesting conversation, I guess. So, plans for this robot. Let's talk about plans for this hexapod robot while I'm screwing things pretty much completely off camera. By the way, what do you think of this angle? Awkward angle, or what are we working with? It's nice as like a setup. I wish I could pull this a little bit closer to me, like right here, and be working on it, but this is just sort of growing pains, right? Basically the webcam's right there, and I need like a noodle arm to pull it up and like further this way. Basically have like the big Clive kind of setup, so the frustum is right over the workbench, and then be able to work on it. Although if I'm behind the scenes moment, this is a folding table set up in my bedroom right by my work desk. Not my like desk that I use for work, but my desk that I work at and play video games on when I'm not working at work, which is upstairs. So behind the scenes moment, uh, it's a little it's not a professional setup just yet. I am trying to figure out how I'll make it a more professional setup, or if I even want to do that. But that's like, okay, so these have a parity, which is kind of interesting. So I'll have to keep that in mind. What I mean by that is that these two legs, like the servos are mounted like this, right? Can't really see it. So the servos are mounted like that. So they'll have a parity where like the shoulder joints meeting at these two. Oh my god, this is so hard with a camera. So the shoulder joints meeting here will be at like opposite. Basically, what I'm saying is if the robot's like this, facing this way, like it's looking towards me, then these are probably different sides of the robot, right? And it would do like that. So I don't remember which one of these isn't screwed in. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. Should just make it a little more interesting to do this project. I did set this one. I did not set this one the way I set the others. Because that's the key, is just to have like a consistency. So like these bend to 90, and as long as the maximum for the servo is always 90, in this case I guess it would be minimum. So that's already inconsistent. But as long as it's a consistency that I can keep track of in my head and in a program, we'll be fine. So plans for this robot. I am not sure yet what I want the robot to do. I'm definitely open to feedback. I have a nice thick garage. And that's a weird adjective to use with a garage, but I have a nice thick garage. And so it's entirely possible for me to set this up in sort of like a little arena area in the garage and maybe have a webcam on it. Maybe even put it outside if it's not raining, and then have like when a raccoon comes up, they can fight or something like that. I don't know. Not a fan of fighting animals, but kind of a big fan of fighting animals with robots. That sounds pretty cool, actually. Probably would get me banned, but would be pretty sweet to watch, probably. Okay, so this is another. This is the left-handed side. The last leg for that side, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely open to options for what this robot should do. I don't have goals for it yet, and when I bought it, I didn't really have goals when I bought it other than as like a test bed, at least not that I recall. And then it didn't really, I didn't do anything with it, which like means it didn't live up to my expectations of myself with it. But it should definitely have a place. I just don't know what that place is yet. Like I said, totally open to suggestions. If you think hex robots are cool, maybe I even do a giveaway or something with the kit. Disassemble it on stream and then send it to some like kids robotics charity or something. Could be cool. We'll find out. So this is the last leg. Oh, I should be playing. Music. I should do like lo-fi hip hop to study and whatever too. I was watching. This is a talk to me stream, so totally random topics. I was watching French Fried Girl talk about foodie beauty because there's of course some drama in that community, and we could keep streaming the audio for that, but I don't think that people would appreciate that. Whoa, that's loud. Oh no, give me the option for the. There we go. Okay, it sounds louder to me than it probably does to you, so let me know. But yeah, definitely, I mean, we can talk foodie beauty drama. Just very interesting over there if you're part of the foodie community like that. The girl gang and all that. There we go. Cool. So that's all 6. I think it's like a little lobster claw. You can't see that. It's like a little lobster claw. It's kind of neat. It's distant for sure. Do you mean the music? It's like super quiet, or are you talking about something else? I don't know. I was gonna make a joke like you talk about my parents when I was growing up or something, but that's a weird joke to make on a public platform. The music. Okay. Is it? Do you want it louder? Do you want the music a little bit louder? Or I figure people would be watching this and like doing other things, playing video games or doing something. Totally up to you. You're the boss. You're the boss of the stream right now with regards to the music. Well, in the meantime, I'm going to start putting some shoulders together. Yeah, so these are going to be a little complex. Yeah, it could be a little louder, I reckon. All right, partner. Well, look, I'm gonna do you a little favor here and boost the music just a tad, a mite, if you will. Hopefully that's a little bit better. I don't actually know. Oddly enough, I don't actually know if these shoulders have a parity because of the way the bracket is constructed. So I gotta. They totally do. Right? Oh my god, am I tripping? Yeah, they totally have a parity. You can see this bracket, like, basically these brackets are situated the same. This one's going. These brackets are situated the same. This one's going that way, and this one's going this way. So that's the parity. So it's just finding out which of these needs to be. So this one I'm going to put here. So I'm just going to situate it. We're going to call that the parity. Then this one, if I do the same, would be this side. Now, this one is also this side. This is great, but it's really hard because of all these wires. It doesn't look like there's a lot of wires here from up there, but down here, there's wires everywhere. So this is definitely a challenge. Okay, so this... Okay, so this parity is definitely this one. It's weird that I would get so many of the same, though it's not the same, is it? Oh no, are there like 4 of these? So then... So there's 2 different permutations of these blocks? Oh, I've flipped these servos. I think it's because 2 of these are the back, maybe. This might take a while. Okay, so these two can go here. No, they can't. You have to take into account the like swing. So the servo goes this way, and then if there's a servo here, it could all like it could swing. They could swing into each other. So you have to take into account that at least a little bit. So yeah, I think these kind of hang off the edge like that. So then if I get quiet, it's because this is somehow really confusing. I've had this whole thing assembled before in a way that made sense, but like a normal average programmer, I didn't document it at all. So they definitely should have done that. So these are a pair. That makes sense. And they also, if I install them, they are like this. So these should be on the back. Maybe. No, that's dumb. I think these are definitely side. Okay. So if these are side, because the legs then are like this, and when they swing, when they rotate, I need to make sure that they don't like bonk into each other at their maximum range. Or if they do like that, I can compensate for it. So these two are opposites. And if these two aren't opposites, I'm gonna flip out. Cool. Okay, so then these can go like this, and they won't get in the way of these ones. And then these, if they go this way, can do the same. Cool. Excellent. Cool. Robot's done. We're done. Ship it. It's not true. It's not true. We haven't even really started, it feels like. Okay, so let's... These are in the order that they will be in the future when I'm done, hopefully. So now we can start putting these together. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did before, where basically I'm going to move these as far as they can go that way. So this is the maximum range. So the servo, like obviously this is way too far for it to be the maximum range. If I tilt it this way, I think even that's too far, but it means that the servo... I wasn't under the camera for any of that. So I had it like this, which means that this is the ultimate range of this servo, and so the leg, you picture the leg is connected like this. And I'll just connect it a little bit. So this is ridiculous. Completely like having a leg go through your body, not how things walk. So what we want to do is have it like this at its ultimate range, which looks really bad now that I've actually like assembled it. But I don't think there's another way to do this for these legs because this body isn't wide enough. Oh shit, would be super interesting. Since I'm building a robot and I'm in control of its gait, it would be really cool to build this robot out and have it only walk like a crab, side to side. Anyway, that's too many ideas. So, servo is at its extreme here, and what I want to do is have it so it's at its extreme here, and then its other extreme is going to be this way. So it gives me a nice wide range to use here. And then we're going to screw this one in. I'm going to remove the leg for a second. So we're just going to screw this little joint. Cool. We've got a lot of wires that I am not sure how to deal with other than to throw them through this hole and hope for the best. eventually I'll want to like wrap these and mark them for whichever servo they're part of. But that's a future me problem. There we go. All right, so now for the legs. Maybe we do the legs in a bit. Yeah, let's do the legs last. So, the next piece, I'll leave this screwed in here for now. Just so I don't lose screws. I don't like to have screws floating around. It's, you know, from all my years on the space station, it's very awkward to just have screws floating around because they'll get into your machinery everywhere and then it like ruins it. Okay, so this one definitely goes here. Yeah. So I'm gonna unscrew this. Okay, and then we'll do the exact same thing. So we'll drive it as far as it can go, and that will be this point. No, that ain't right. As far as it can go should be this point. Right here. We don't want it to move any further that way than this. And typically, like in normal robot function, this is like too extreme. It should never get to this point. Unless it knows that this leg is like out of the way, because this will damage the servo. If they do like this, they're going to knock up and then they're doomed. So, since this is at its apex, we will screw it in. I don't know if I should be using a washer here, but I think I should also be using different screws. Like, this is not a professional robot competition or anything like that. Okay, so we've got that one installed. Let's do some small amount of wire management. Wire management is, in my experience, always the worst part of robotics. It's somehow, like, the most frustrating and also the most boring at the same time. Because you're usually just like, let me thread these 115 wires through this hole, and then it takes an hour and a half, and it's very annoying. Alright, continuing to do this. So it's interesting with this one. So the wire, or the permutation of the servos like this is such that you can mount it, like if this is the bottom plate. God, this is really difficult on a camera. You don't realize how hard people like Big Clive had it until you try to do this stuff on a camera. So imagine this is this plane. It's interesting that this servo can be mounted both of these ways. Whoops. Both of these ways. Oh, shoot. And it's the exact same, like, setup. It's just kind of neat. The difference is that this one is worse for the wire layout, actually. Is that true? Did I just lie? Oh man, I'm tripping. Yeah, okay, they're the same for the wire layout. I hope. We're gonna find out together. Okay. Whoops. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing where we move it as far as it can go. That was really far. And that is going to be here, I think. Yeah, because that way, like, we can maximize the arc that we have, but also, like, without it being limited in motion in any of the directions, or like being able to travel too far. And we want to have a point where we can program like this is your maxima, because the software that I was writing to control this robot, I had a piece of Objective-C code actually called Gate Finder that you would program these in and that like the max and min of each of these, and then the idea was that you would have an accelerometer in the robot and it would move. Basically, like the robot could learn how to program itself. I had that. I had a lot of that written, but it was also old code, and now it's too old. We're just going to feed this through these same holes. This one's kind of a special case because there's so much. I think the word is motility. There's so much motility like in these wires; they move a lot. So having like actually mounting these anywhere without a bunch of slack is going to be a big mistake. But that's fine for now since we're not mounting them to anything just yet. So we'll continue on with this servo. And once again, we will turn this to its maxima. Okay, I think it was at its minima, basically. And we'll put it here. And then secure it. So yeah, this is coming along pretty nicely so far. Getting a little nervous about not having enough screws to mount the top plate to this bottom plate, but we will cross that road when we come to it. Yeah, so both of the servos, you can see both of these middle servos face the same direction now. As in they both face towards me. So that symmetry is nice and will make this a little bit easier to program, hopefully. We want to loop the wires through like this. And the wire, this is really just to like keep the wires organized and not flying everywhere and being very confusing and difficult to work with. So I'm still not sure. I think that these will be the front because they are pointed this way, which they don't have to be pointed that way. And maybe it's better if they're not. Especially, so one thing that I haven't pointed out is that right now I've got all the servos mounted so that the legs are connecting on the bottom of the servo, towards the bottom, because this is the bottom of the robot right here. So the legs will be mounted on the bottom of it, which is nice for like center of gravity purposes. But maybe the way to differentiate the front and back is that the front legs are mounted higher, which could make it easier for things like climbing stairs. And the thought of a hexapod robot climbing stairs in the middle of the night to come kill you is a really good idea for a horror movie. So I might have that be what I do, because that sounds hilarious. So the question becomes, which side do I mount these on? And I think I want to mount them on this side. Because if I mount them like this, then that means that like the range of the leg is farther forward and also higher than the ones back here. Like if I were to mount it here, oh, it also makes it so that it can actually move the front legs even when the back legs are, or the center legs are not in a good place. So I think that's actually my only option. So I'm glad I thought about that now. Does mean that this last pair of legs will be mounted in the opposite order of the other legs, but like whatever. I'm not a stickler for organization. Whoop, okay. I don't know that I I think I forgot to do the whole maxima piece of this step. Big whoops. Alright, let's do that now. So, We want to turn it... Ooh, that's a bit crazy, actually. Okay. So we want the maxima to be this way, I think, so that... where's the leg that matches? So that this leg can only be like this. Like if you look at the robot top down, we've got basically a 45-degree angle arc like this, or 90-degree angle arc. I even have this to show it off. So we've got like this 90-degree angle going on instead of not having that, which we would have if we did it the wrong way. So we'll just do it this way and call it good. I think I remember now. Why I don't have the extra screws for these. And I think it's because when I had assembled this robot, yeah, I didn't have the room. And it wasn't because my servos were too big. It might have been because the servos were too big. I don't remember. But I remember that it was hilarious. But basically, yeah, I think I planned to print new brackets because these servos were larger. Like the servos plus the shoulder brackets were larger than the kit could support, or maybe it was that these rings were too big. Because I remember, let's go on an adventure with these rings. Let's pull a Sonic, go on an adventure with these rings, huh? Because I remember that they don't fit through the other direction, which you would expect. Yeah. Right. And they also don't fit that way on these ones. Right. Yeah, so see how these rings, I don't have the dexterity for this. So see how these rings have a lip? You might not be able to see it because of the incredibly bright light. Hold on. Let's make it nice and dim. There we go. So see how is this worse? How did that make it worse? So see how these have a lip around them? That's the lip that the servo, just threw it on the ground. That's the lip that the servo mounts into. The servos themselves have this like crown piece, if I can get it to focus. Focus on me. Webcam, please. Oh, it's so close. It's so close to focusing right. Okay, good enough. So it's got like these little crown pieces, that gold piece. This is the worst zoom I've ever seen. So basically these are like a gear shape that fits into this lip. And so with these kits, I figured that you would have to slip. Oh, this is so hard. So I figured you would have to slip the lip through these holes, but that doesn't work. And since you can't do that, there's no way to mount the servos more flush. So if you can see here, you've got the entire bracket. Oh my god, LG webcam, please just focus for once. Just do me a favor and focus. What if I turn the light down even more? Make it real dark. You can kind of see it. Hopefully. It's right here. Christ Jesus, this is the worst focus. It did it. It did it for a second. It focused for a second. Bro, will you focus, please? Look at my hand. Look at my hand and focus. Okay. So anyway, these would need to be mounted inside in order to make this more flush so that the kit would actually assemble the way it's intended. but because it doesn't work that way, you can see like there's a good 3 millimeters between where I need to be and where it isn't. And so that's why I never put the top on this robot kit. So I need to like jury rig a better bracket for it at some point. But that's future my problem. We'll do that in another stream when we can hopefully get this webcam to focus. I don't know if there's like a configuration utility or what. I need to turn the brightness up a little bit now. Yeah, there you go. I wonder if I can keep the dimness and boost the brightness in post. We'll figure that out. I'm new to this whole technology thing. I basically come from a cabin in the woods, grew up in Iraq. Or, well, I grew up in a rock is what I meant, not in Iraq, like the country. But needless to say, I'm not good with videos and webcams and all this stuff, which is ironic since most of my job for a while was making cameras work. But what are you gonna do? There we go. All right, so this wire organization is looking pretty good. Just have to finish mounting this servo, then we can attach the legs, and then I'll be done. So let's get this way. Cool. Oh. Don't want to lose this screws. Okay. Yeah, let's do one of... That ain't it. That was really hard to unscrew. I don't know why. There we go. So, as always, this is the point that we want it to be at, but we want that to be the maximum. So... Servo kind of sounded like Zoidberg. And that sounds weird, but it did a like woo sound. It's kind of funny. Okay. So now we just screw this bad boy in. Hope we don't get killed by P. Diddy. Okay. There we go. And now, after a little bit more wire management, we will be done with this step. There we go. There we go. So you can see all these wires. I definitely should have brought a rubber band or like a piece of tape. I really don't want to go all the way upstairs to get a piece of tape because I'm very lazy. It'll be fine the way it is. Calling it now. So we are done with this part of the body. In the next step, we will mount the legs. So I'm going to take a sip of water, and we're going to start the next step. Alright, welcome back. I know I was only gone for like 10 seconds, but still. So, now we basically just do the same steps we were doing before, but for the legs. So it's important to mount the legs on the right side, the correct side, not the right side, because that's only one of the sides. We gotta do both sides. So let's get to it. So, this is the leg for this bracket. Oh, the other part of why I never finished this robot. I'm remembering this as I assemble the robot. The other part is that these brackets didn't make it easy to mount torsional supports. I don't know what you'd call it. Basically, like the servos swivel this way, which is cool. Uh, but with heavy load on the legs, like if the servos are carrying a giant robot, for example, the servos will twist in towards the robot, like in the like they'll be torqued by the leg servo basically, or the leg mass. So what ends up happening? Ooh, I just realized that this leg needs to be changed because of this change, but it's fine. So what ends up happening is that the servo slowly gets damaged by that torsion force, the like torque twisting towards the center of the robot, or perpendicular to the plane that the servo or like the leg is standing on. I could draw this. I have paper. I can draw it. Look at me being all prepared. Where's a pencil? Hey, I even have a pencil. Look at that. Okay, so hopefully you can see this from far away. Ooh, can I draw this upside down is the question. So, let's say we have the leg. Like the leg is one of these. Should just make this one giant dick joke. It'd be really funny. Just like draw a penis right here. It'd be hilarious. So, let's say we have the leg like this, and then we have this is like the femur, right? So when the servo is mounted here, when the leg is on the ground, the robot, like the servo has a torque force applied in this direction, and that can, over time, damage the servo. So what this kit didn't have that I intended to give the kit before I gave up on the kit was another bracket mount here, which on these shoulders would be here, right above where it's, yeah, you can see that, right above where it's mounted to the body. So it would fit into that where it swivels, and then not, it basically the body of the robot then would take that torque force instead of the servo's like mounted components, and it would stop, I don't know what kind of wear it would be called, but like wear on one side of the servo pieces. But that shit never happened. I didn't do any of that. I knew it would be a problem, and I just was like, I'll solve it someday. And then today came. So what we are going to do is not sweat that right now. So this leg, you might have noticed that I said all this stuff about having the front leg mounted differently than the other two legs on each side. And this leg, I'm thinking, if this is the front leg, it should be mounted with, like, this should be mounted up instead of there. I'm not going to do that right now, but when I'm programming this robot, we may end up doing that. Is this webcam really out of focus right now? How did this happen? Let's, what if I rub the webcam a lot? Is that better? Hello, webcam. No, it's no better. Can I tell Windows to stop autofocusing? Okay. This little cloth. Maybe it's a little better. I think it looks a little better. Okay. Whatever. We'll figure it out someday. So, we are just going to mount this leg. That's the wrong direction. So I will want to do that same Maxima thing on each of these legs too. So this, are you serious? This kit is a little more labor intensive than you would think. But that's something that I've found about robots in general, is that they're a little more labor intensive than you think. Which is a huge bummer. Like you picture, people like Iron Man with 30,000 robots and whatever. And it's like, without a small army to support all those robots, that ain't happening. It's kind of a huge bummer. Okay, so for these legs, the most extreme point for them is just going to be like this. So at its most extreme point, I want the robot. Gosh, none of this is on screen. There we go. Basically, at its most extreme point, I want the robot to be able to stand on its tiptoes, and that makes it probably about 9 inches tall, which would be hilarious because I have a cat, and it'd be really funny to have the robot intimidate my cat because it's taller. Cat's probably taller than 9 inches, but you get the idea. So that's what we're going to go for. It might make putting this whole thing together a little less easy, but that's probably fine. Can't see me screwing things in. Okay, it's taken a lot of screwing. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so you can kind of see how it's all coming together now. Got one leg. I'm going to do the next leg, which is going to be the same leg parity. So I'm just going to go clockwise, probably. So, once again, I'm also not going to worry as much about wires for this one, wire management, because these legs, like the wires for these servos are going to end up being clipped here and then clipped like deep inside of the robot body, probably. And there's not really like a bracket or something that makes it convenient to mount these at the moment. Cool. That fell. So then I will screw this part in. There we go, and that's looking real good now. Alright. Next piece. We want to do the exact same thing. I want to grab the same parity, which I grabbed the exact opposite parity. Okay. And we just want to do the same maxima thing. There we go. And then mount the leg this way. Yeah, that's looking good. Hopefully a lot of this is on camera. In the future, I might be doing this in my garage when the weather gets better and it's not 30 degrees in my garage. And I'll have some additional cameras and stuff that I can switch between and hopefully get like close-in shots and stuff. So that's that half of the robot. This thing is surprisingly heavy, by the way. It's almost entirely these servos. I don't know how much each servo individually weighs, but as a single unit all tied together, it's a load. It's just a bunch of servo mass. Okay, so the next set of legs. And I'll start with the front again. Yeah. So this is the front of the robot. Just in case you were curious. Oh, that's weird. It was like perfect. Complete coincidence. I'm not technopath or anything, not yet, at least. Yeah, so it'll be a big challenge to power this thing. I actually have a PSU now that I got for like winter storms and stuff, but part of the goal of the PSU is to be able to have robots, especially like the like tractor robots or like robots that like rovers. That's the word I'm looking for. Basically, have them drag the PSU like a cart behind it. Um, that way they can have like long-term power that I couldn't provide them in their own chassis, with minimal drag and mass on the actual robot. But that's like future plans. I would like eventually. My Twitch channel so far has all been video games and sometimes doing some React programming. But I'd like to build a bunch of robots and really go sort of hard on just building robots and writing weird code and doing just cool projects. So if you're into that kind of thing, why don't you drop me a follow? You know, pound the heck out of that follow button. Just really, destroy the like button. Like and subscribe. I will eventually probably dump this to YouTube as well once I get a YouTube channel. So we'll see when that happens. There we go. Do one of these. This is the last leg, so we are. It's the last leg, both metaphorically and like actually. Is it not a plug-in PSU? It is, but it does have a battery backup. So it's I don't know how many hours it is. It wasn't very expensive. I got it on a deal shortly after that winter storm that happened last year. Mostly so that I could charge my phone, because having no electricity for a week was really, really bad. It's bad when you depend on electricity, both for like entertainment and having a job, and being able to like contact the outside world. So that's 3 things, not both. But yeah, the PSU is just like a normal, like you plug it in, it charges the battery over time, and you can use the battery to charge anything that takes 12 volts, or anything that takes like 144 or whatever, the wall voltage. And it's also got some USBs for like 12 volts and 5. But I figured I would just like adapt the, like this unit when I'm building it is going to have to plug into a wall. Oh, you should check out the Tech Connections car battery backup system. Yeah, I was thinking of doing something like that too, but I also kind of just want to buy like a battery wall. Like my local power company has a bunch of rebates and stuff if you buy a battery, and since I already have solar panels, I can get a battery for like several rebates. Not free, but for like, I think it's 10 grand to power my house for like 3 days or something like that. Which is like really nice. It'd be really good to have that much power just sitting around. Plus, like future smart grid stuff, like it's very important to me. And also, you get in big trouble if you have like a battery backup, and PGE or whatever finds out. They get very mad about that. So this is the finished robot. I cannot disconnect this webcam enough to show it off. There you go. It's assembled. I can at least move the legs apart so they're not... You can see... oh, it even stands on 4 legs. That would be an interesting trick to teach it when it's a robot and not a bunch of metal and wires. So as you can see, it's a pretty thick boy. Or girl. We haven't programmed it yet, so who knows what it is. Yeah, it's pretty chonker. Heck of a chonker, you know, doing a heckin' large robot time. This plate is supposed to go on top. You can even see now already the torque that's applied from this is pushing the servos, especially these ones, in. So like if I lift this up, you can see this fits perfectly down, but if I don't, it doesn't fit because it's like twisted. So I'll need to make brackets for these. which maybe I'll make in SketchUp or something on stream at some point. That'd be pretty cool. Let's see, what else? I think that's about it. I've got these separator things, but as you can see, they don't fit for the reasons that I mentioned before. So I'll also have to print a set of these. Should be fun. I definitely have a 3D printer, and it definitely works, but Cura sucks really bad, which makes it really hard to print things when the software to control the export of the printer barely works. But I should be able to just model these and print a corollary to them pretty easily. The brackets for the servos, maybe not so much. Even with, if you remember from earlier in the stream, oh, well, I guess I do have these plastic ones. Because if you remember earlier in the stream, I was mentioning these pieces in my little printed section. You can see they've got like a circle. Oh my god, webcam. Webcam, please just focus. Just once, thank you. You can see that it's got the same like form factor as the metal brackets that are under these right now. And a plastic bracket in here would suffice. The problem is that they don't fit. They don't go in the hole. But if I could flip these and then mount the servos, just like run a metal peg through it into that hole, since it's just literally just to secure the servos against torque, that might be the way to go. But I'll have to consider that. That's also really complicated. I do have these like 6-star dudes. I don't think they fit either though. I think it's just that yeah, I do have a drill press, so I could widen these holes to accept these brackets. I don't know. It's just things to plan for the future. Things that I didn't plan for this stream. So, I think I'm going to end the stream here. There's about an hour of assembling this robot. That's not even close to true, though, right? It's 7 o'clock, and it was probably 15 minutes of me fumbling to get set up. So there's probably, 30, 45 minutes or something of building this robot. At least this kit. Yeah, I think it went really well. There's more work to be done to actually like get this kit working the way that I want. But future streams, if people are interested in them, should be programming this. Basically like building this out with a bunch of circuits, obviously like tying these servos into things. I'll probably just do an Arduino, but we'll see. Yeah, I have some plans. I'll probably post a bunch on Twitter about this. So if you are in the stream right now and want to follow me on Twitter, you should follow me on Twitter. Other than that, oh god, okay, it's really easy to just squish this down because nothing is powered right now. Yeah, other than that, if you enjoyed this stream, let me know. I would love some feedback, especially on the camera. I got a camera that I thought was pretty good, and it's definitely good for streaming things that aren't building a robot under a really bright light. So I'll have to fiddle with that a bit. Robot goes smoosh. Dude, robot completely went smoosh. It splooted just like a normal robot. It just collapsed under its own weight. This is what happens when you have a dinosaur or a spider from like way back in the day and bring it to now. Just no oxygen, it just collapses. Yeah, I'm gonna call it here. I hope y'all have a good night. Follow me on Twitter if you are interested in, I guess, just following this robot. Otherwise, I'll stream building the robot. more often, and eventually programming it. And yeah, you can, if you join up and follow me on Twitch, you can maybe have a hand in what actually goes into this robot. So it should be pretty interesting. But I'm going to leave y'all with that one. Have a good night, and see you next week.